All right, so are we all good, Jeff?
You're all good, Larry. You should be able to
All right,
share.
perfect. All right. Good morning, everyone. Go on camera here. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. Um, we really appreciate everyone being here and then taking the time to sit down with us and talk about Schneider Electric and Cordicate IT and power. For those that I've never met, my name's Larry Caldwell. I'm with Schneider Electric APC. I work as the channel manager, and I work with our partners like Cordicate IT to support our customers like you with power protection and infrastructure. And just giving you your basic needs of information for UPSs, PDUs, racks. Before we get started, I wanted to mention that today's session is part one of a two-part training series that we are having. We're excited to continue the conversation, something we're working with Cordicate IT on to host the second training at Netflix House in King of Prussia. So, details are still coming out on that. We're still working on it, but we'll build on today's topics and take a deeper dive, with you guys and get everyone's input after this first webinar. So today's session that we're going to focus on is often something that gets overlooked, right? But it's power reliability. UPS is uninterruptible power supplies, right, in your data closets. A lot of our customers we know set it and forget it, and maybe they monitor it. But as the environments begin, and continue to grow, it'll become more critical, for your day-to-day operations of having, the right backup power, right strategy or solution in place. So today we're going to walk through the fundamentals of UPS systems, what they do, why they matter, and how they help protect your equipment, and keep your business up and running during unexpected outages or power disturbances. From there, we'll spend some time looking at different types of solutions, right, available that Schneider APC can offer, both in single phase and three-phase UPS systems, and where it just makes most sense depending on your environment. Single phase, three-phase, VRLA batteries, versus our new, lithium ion technology that we're really excited about. So, the goal for today, right, giving you a clear understanding of how to think about your power, along with some practical guidance that you can take back and just apply to your setup. So, we thank everyone for being here. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Zari, who is coming live to us from our Innovation Executive Briefing Center in St. Louis, or I should say, just outside of St. Louis, in O'Fallon, Missouri. She's going to take us through details, dive deeper into the solutions. So Zari, it's the floor is all yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Zari Overton. I'm the Power Systems Specialist here at the IABC in O'Fallon, Missouri. As Larry just mentioned, we're going to talk about some of our UPS catalog, and we're going to start with single phase, show you some of our three-phase solutions, and then if you guys want it, we can maybe touch on some EcoStruxure IT software. But without further ado, I'll get going. So this is more of an intro. Some of you may be familiar, but for those of you who aren't, UPS is an uninterruptible power supply, and the purpose of them are power conditioning and power protection. So in the event of outages for a short temporary amount of time, your UPS will back up your systems and your equipment and keep that load going. And what I want to show you here are the fundamentals, and we have two different types of topologies, which is how the UPSs work, how they're made, and how the power flows through them. And behind me, I have line interactive UPS systems. So here on this side, we have our line interactive, and then over here, we have our online double conversion UPS systems. And to break those down and tell the difference between that, here's what it is. So line interactive With that, you have incoming power from your utility. It's AC power, which is a sine wave, so it goes up and down like this. And your line interactive UPS system is going to sit on that power line and condition any anomalies. So if you have maybe some spikes and sags in your power, your line interactive UPS system is going to clean that up so that you get good power to your equipment. With a line interactive UPS system, if it has to go to battery, that means there's complete outage, and now you have battery that is carrying your load. There is a very small drop in power. It's only a few milliseconds, but there is a drop. And what this compares to is, say you're in your house, there's a storm, you lose some power, and your lights dim a bit. So that's what happens with our line interactive UPS system. And these are primarily found in areas of really strong power, so environments that don't have many outages. And very good UPS system, very reliable, but the environment is what differentiates when you would have a line interactive or online double conversion UPS. So turning it over to a double conversion UPS, what that is, you have your same incoming AC power. Again, that sine wave. However, two conversions are happening. So you're going from AC, incoming AC power, it's converting it to DC power, doing some power conditioning there, and then doing a second conversion, DC back to AC. So this type of UPS system is creating its own sine wave. That means it doesn't really care if the incoming power is good or bad. Line interactive just cleans up the small anomalies. Double conversion is creating its own sine wave regardless of what's coming in. And these type of UPSs are primarily in areas of soft power. So where it is prone to outage, where you get a lot of those spikes and sags, it doesn't really matter. So when you decide between these two UPS systems, it's primarily about what you need, where it's going to be located, and sometimes space. So now I can start to actually show you what we have here. We're going to start with our line interactive UPS systems. And here, this is a part of our SmartUps line. Here we have a SmartUps SMT, so 1500 VA UPS system. With these particular UPS systems, we have network management cards. So there are some UPS systems where you can only monitor them. That means you can only see what's going on inside of the UPS system and read what's coming out of the UPS. But with these network management cards, you now get manageability. You can send directive to the UPS system. So with something like this, you have USB ports, universal IOs. This can be for temperature sensors, Modbus connections for serial communications, and then we have our network port, which is standard, and you can monitor the UPS system. So when I say manageability, you can start to do things like toggle on and off outlet switches, which is really important because you can also set up notifications that where the UPS system will let you know whether it's operating on battery or utility. And say something happens, it goes to battery, you get that notification. You have the ability to toggle on and off outlets so that you can safely shut down your equipment or safely save any critical information before you have a full, complete shut off. So that's where this manageability comes into play. There's also now options for something like this USB fob, and you can make this UPS completely wireless. So this just opens up the door for more communication with your UPS system. So that's our SmartUps SMT. Down here, we have a SmartUps SMX. When you hear X, think of extended runtime. And with this, we can add external batteries. So runtime is really important. If it goes, again, complete outage and you rely on battery, you may add additional batteries to get more time to, like I said, safely save critical data or shut down the UPS system. So I want to reiterate again, UPS systems are for temporary power protection. In different cases, very big facilities, it's enough time for your power to go to the generator. And in other cases, it gives you just enough time to, again, save anything that's important and properly shut down your equipment before they just go off. These here, back to these UPS systems, if you see they have the black covers, these have our traditional battery solutions. So that's our valve regulated lead acid batteries, VRLAs. You can take this cover off, and this is what this battery looks like. It's actually quite heavy. I do this quite often, so you can't tell, but that's what our VRLA looks like. Our UPS is going to start beeping just as an indicator, hey, you removed the battery, but it'll stop as soon as in a few seconds after replacing it. And it even asks me, hey, is this a new battery, yes or no? And that's because it's tracking it. So that is our lead acid battery. Over here, this is also a part of our SmartUp catalog. However, this is a SMT-L, L for lithium ion. This is also a 1500 VA UPS system, but with a different battery solution. So I can do the same thing here. Take this battery out. This is much lighter. I can hold this with one hand. So this is our lithium ion battery. It also has a smaller footprint. And what I want to point out about this particular UPS, typically you'll be able to tell right away the difference in size. However, this UPS has a shorter depth in the back. So that's why the use spaces are similar here between the two. When we compare lithium ion batteries and lead acid batteries, you want to look at the lifespan. So VRLA batteries last 3 to 5 years, where lithium ion batteries last 7 to 10 years. What that means is this lithium ion battery can last the entire lifespan of the UPS system itself. With your lead acid batteries, you're probably going to have to do maybe 2 to 3 battery changes, refreshes throughout the lifespan of the battery of the UPS system. So the caveat, there is a higher upfront cost with lithium ion. However, total cost of ownership comes out to be a lot less because there's less maintenance involved when using lithium ion battery solutions. I already showed you guys the difference in the footprint. So lithium ion batteries are typically a smaller footprint. You get the same energy densities in a smaller footprint because of the chemistry, different chemistry. Again, the weight difference as well. So when it comes to where you want to put these UPS systems, you get a bit more versatility, whether you want a tower rack mount or something like a wall cabinet. I would prefer to lift the lighter UPS system over the heavy lead acid battery UPS. Another thing is that lithium ion batteries can be supercharged. So these charge about 5 times faster than your lead acid batteries. They also operate well in higher temperature environments. When I say that, I want to show you this battery down here. This is a lead acid battery. We had 2 UPSs stacked on top of one another as they are right here in our IT closet here at the IABC. With all of our equipment, the room got really hot and this battery swelled. So I can't even pull this. What's supposed to happen is that you can slide this right in and out, no problem. But because of the temperature, this is what happens. So this is a maintenance thing that people aren't going to want to deal with. And we don't see that happening at all with lithium ion batteries. So that's another really huge benefit. Something else I want to point out are the cycles, the number of cycles. So lithium ion batteries have lithium ion batteries have 10 times the amount of cycles as lead acid batteries. And what that means is how many times you can fully charge and discharge your battery. So when you are going to battery constantly with your lead acid battery, that actually degrades the battery. And I mentioned 3 to 5 years for lifespan, but that can actually shorten it. So lots of things to think about when using lead acid batteries and a lot more maintenance involved, where lithium ion batteries are a set it and forget it type of battery solution. So I hope that was clear. Are there any questions so far? Okay, no questions. I'm going to move on. So that was our line interactive UPS systems. Here we have our online double conversion UPS systems. So right away, you can kind of see the difference. This is our SmartUps SRT. It's a 5 kVA UPS. And then we have our SmartUps Ultra, also a 5 kVA. This is our lithium ion battery solution and then our lead acid battery solution. Right away, you can see this is 3 use spaces in a a rack, and here we have 2 use spaces. I can do the same thing and take the covers off. Maybe. There we go. And you can see that lithium ion battery sitting right there. Same thing over here. This one's a bit harder to see, but there are 2 lead acid batteries for this SRT. I have them also here on this cabinet or sitting on this shelf. This lithium ion battery is about 20 pounds. That is in comparison to 2 of these lead acid batteries. I'm not going to pick them up. They're about 40 pounds each. So very, very heavy. Smaller footprint. When it comes to IT spaces and closets, footprint is really important because if there's limited space, you still want to get all of your equipment backed up as much as you can. We're going to move down here to our SmartUps Modular Ultra. So this is our newest and largest single phase UPS system. This is lithium ion battery only. And this is the size of the UPS itself. So only 9 use spaces. And there are power modules and lithium ion batteries. So these are 5 kW power modules. They are power factor corrected. You can go 5, 10, 15 kW total and just 9 use spaces, which is pretty impressive. This maxes up to 20 kW. So you can add this additional shelf here and get another power module in here. You can either do 20 kW max or 15 kW N+1 for redundancy. Something that's also really nice about this UPS system are the LED indicators. So this helps with troubleshooting. When everything is running fine, your lights will be green, but if you have a bad power module or bad battery, it will turn red. And this is modular and live swappable, so you can go ahead and maintenance this without turning off the UPS system. This is also another optional piece to this UPS system, which is our service bypass unit. And this comes into play when you need to completely gut out this UPS. So you would simply put this in bypass. And when I say bypass, that incoming AC power is going to go around your UPS system. So instead of going through that double conversion, it's going to go around it. You can keep this energized, take out all of your bad power modules and batteries, replace them, and then put that right back into normal operation when you're done with that. So this is really, really nice. And after 20 kW, that's when we move up to 3-phase. So this is our single phase catalog that we have here to show. Again, any questions before I move on to show you some 3-phase solutions? All right. Oh, good. Right. So now I'm going to take you all to see our Galaxy VL. This here is a part of our Galaxy V series. And the nomenclature, we have a GVS, S for small. We had M for medium. That has come to end of life. Then you go to L, large, X, extra large, and then our newest, our Galaxy V series is our Galaxy V XL. So nomenclature was thrown off a bit, but we're just going to say that's our extra, extra large GPS. So okay, so I hear that there are some questions in the chat. Someone asked about restrictions with lithium ion batteries and how high, right, what floor buildings they can be installed on. So we have documentation supporting the safety of our lithium ion batteries. There aren't any caps currently on what floors they can be placed on. If there are any conflicts with customers, we can have, you know, our field service representatives and supporting resources come out and show documentation to hopefully get those approved. But as of now, no limitations on our lithium ion batteries. Okay, and then I had another question about how quickly a battery can swell and if even a brand new battery could swell. So I don't think there is necessarily a timeline on it. It really does depend on the temperature in the environment. So there's a nominal temperature range for these VRLA batteries. I don't quite remember it at the moment. I can get that answer for you. However, our IT closet was about 90 degrees, which is above nominal. And I think just that being just the battery sitting in that environment over time, it began to swell. So there's no specific time limit, but it's more so based on temperature and how long it's been in there. Hope, yeah. So I hope that answered those questions. Feel free to drop more questions as they come up, and I will continue talking about this GVL. So again, Galaxy VL touch screen user interface. So this touchscreen is telling you everything that's currently happening inside of this UPS system. I can open up this door, and this is the UPS cabinet itself. This UPS ranges from 200 kW up to 500 kW. Here we have 50 kW power modules, 200 for 4 of these, and then there are slots for up to 10 of them that will get you that 500 kW. This is modular and scalable. Something that's really nice about these power modules is that they are live swappable. So what that means is qualified personnel dressed in proper PPE equipment can actually walk up to the system while it is energized and swap out, add, or replace power modules. Everything here with the green light is currently on and energized, but this one is off, and I can demo what a live swap looks like. What you would do is press down on this green lever and then just pull this right out. So that takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes of time to swap these out and completely eliminates downtime, which saves a lot of money in the long run. Okay. So this is only a 2-person lift. I have one sitting here on the cart. This is how big the power module is, 50 kW. This is a very small footprint for that amount of power. Here's the front, and then here are the back connectors. Again, slides right in to the UPS system, and the UPS just adjusts to it and keeps going. Going up here, we have our inputs and outputs, some of these programmable. We also have a protective panel right here where you can measure voltages while it's energized without having to open up the system and expose all of the dangerous energy behind it. Here we have our control panel. So if any field service representative needs to come out and make any firmware updates, run any diagnostic testing, that will be where they do it. And then fans. So this small of a footprint gets you 500 kW. This is currently the smallest on the market for something of this capacity. Next to it, we have our maintenance bypass cabinet. So here we have 3 breakers, our UPS input breaker, maintenance bypass breaker, and then our UPS output breaker. We also have these LED indicators here, which are very helpful for when it comes to powering up and shutting down this UPS system. This UPS is meant to be set in place and forgotten about. So in the times that you may need to turn it off or on, you may forget, and this will actually give you guided sequences to be able to do that and guide you directly through it with these LED indicators. The last thing I like to show you with this system is our lithium ion battery cabinets. So these are 3rd generation battery cabinets. This is what it looks like upon delivery to customers. You have, this is shielded here, but your batteries are here. You have a maintenance battery management system, and then you have a UVR under voltage relay breaker. I can show you this cabinet here without the casing. This here is a string of 16 lithium ion batteries. There are 4 fuses one behind here, and then 3 in line. These are all for safety. Here we have our battery management system. These are mandatory with lithium-ion batteries. And this is powered off of the DC bus. So what that means is as long as our UPS is running, so is this battery management system. We have a UVR, I mentioned that over here, under voltage relay. It's measuring a 0.3 difference in voltage, battery voltage. And if that is met, this entire battery cabinet goes down. So the batteries go down because it's a string. One bad battery, this is working as this operates as one single big battery. However, if you notice, these lights are still on. That's because our UPS is still running. So is our battery management system. To fix this, you would go ahead and maybe replace the bad battery or fix whatever the problem was. Power gets restored. This had tripped, so I can go ahead and reset this. So we are constantly thinking about safety when it comes to lithium-ion batteries. I also want to show you the batteries here. So I'm going to flip this around. Here is one of these lithium-ion batteries from this cabinet. I just took off the coverings. And this is measuring cell to cell. So there are 8 cells here, the voltage from cell to cell, and then 4 temperature sensors. All of that information is being collected here with our battery management card, and then that's sending the information to the battery management system. So when we're looking at that 0.3 voltage difference, that is cell to cell. That's not battery to battery. So one bad battery, entire cabinet goes down. Each of these batteries give about 5 to 6 minutes of runtime, and you can get as much runtime as you need by just adding more battery cabinets. What I also want to point out is the comparison between lithium-ion batteries and lead-acid batteries. So again, 16 of these lithium-ion batteries, it takes 38 of these VRLA batteries. These are 35 pounds to 105 pounds. So we went from about a 5,000-pound cabinet to a 1,500-pound cabinet. Major space savings, major difference in weight. And then all of the same benefits between the two, as I mentioned while we were over there looking at our single phase UPS systems. So this is our Galaxy VL. Are there any questions in the chat? Okay, so I understand that there was a power surge question about the batteries. Can you elaborate on that question? Okay, so when it comes to a power surge, that would affect the UPS and the equipment more than it would actually affect the battery. When it comes to the battery, that's solely based on the temperature in regard to swelling. So I hope that answers it, and I can give more detail if you have anything further. Now we're going to walk over to our Galaxy VS. So this is another part or another piece of equipment within our Galaxy V series. The S has quite a few. We actually have about 4 different types that I'm going to show you today with our Galaxy VS. Making my way there. And we're going to start with this Galaxy VS right behind me. So this is our Galaxy VS standalone. It's called a standalone because it does not have batteries in the cabinet. And something I want to point out is that if you know how to use only one of our Galaxy V UPS systems, you'll be able to use all of them. The knowledge is transferable. This just has a smaller screen, but provides all of the same information as the Galaxy VL. I can take these covers off. And here we have those same 50 kW power modules. So with our Galaxy VS, they could output 480 volts or 208 volts. So what that means is when it comes to our power modules, if we're outputting 480 volts, it's a 50 kW power module. But if we're outputting 208 volts, split it in half, and it is a 25 kW power module. So this is the largest of our Galaxy VS catalog. You can get up to 3 power modules in here. So it can either be 50 kW, 100 kW, 150 kW, or 25, 50, 75 kW. Depends on what you're outputting. Again, no batteries in this cabinet. So we have an external battery cabinet here, and you can use any battery solution. So that can be lead acid batteries or lithium ion batteries. Here we have a maintenance bypass cabinet. So just like that Galaxy VL, but smaller. And then you have your 3 breakers here. We have a parallel bus here, so you can put several of these Galaxy VS together. And this here is our Galaxy VS standalone. So I want to move over here to our Galaxy VS all-in-one. So this is an all-in-one because it does have batteries in the cabinet. Has a string of VRLA batteries. We took this cover off, so you guys can take a look at that as well. So if you notice, there's only one power module here. This is our static switch. The static switch was also in that standalone, but one 50 kW power module or 25 kW power module, same thing, can either output 480 volts or 280 volts. There are 4 strings of batteries in here. So you do not have the option for lithium ion batteries with this solution just because of the firmware that comes with this and having the batteries in it. But you can always add additional battery cabinets. So this is an additional VRLA battery cabinet, and you can add as many as you want when it comes to runtime. With this solution, you are limited, so you don't have any redundancy because there's only one power module. When it comes to redundancy, you need your need, and then plus 1 or 2, however many more you can have. So this is not live swappable. If you needed more power capacity, you go tall, and we have that right over here. I'll show you that next. But because there are batteries in the bottom of this UPS system, we don't have this space for wiring like we did with our standalone to have the maintenance bypass right next to it, a cabinet. So we have a panel for it. This will go right on the wall, and then you have your 3 breakers as I showed you with the other 2. So Star Galaxy VS all-in-one has the batteries in the cabinet. I showed you the standalone. Doesn't have batteries in the cabinet, you get an external battery cabinet. And again, if you wanted more capacity with the all-in-one, you would go tall. This is our tall, and you get an additional power module here. So you can get up to 50 kW or 100 kW out of the system. This one has 5 strings of batteries. And then we also have an additional battery cabinet here. So that concludes what I plan to show with our single phase catalog and then our Galaxy VL, Galaxy VS. I hope this kind of gives you some insight into what we have here and our capabilities. Also hope you guys have a better understanding of UPS systems after this tour. Are there any additional questions?
I know we're going over a little bit on time, but I guess just to put some clarity to the one question about the power surge, I think that the person was asking, how do Schneider UPSs handle power surges in different sizes?
Oh, yeah, our UPSs are built to handle those spikes and surges. So it depends on the topology. Like I said, with double conversion, it doesn't really matter if there are any surges or sags or any anomalies because it's doing it's doing 2 conversions and creating its own sine wave. But with line interactive, it's just going to clean that up. So it's going to clean that power as long as you're on utility. Hope that answered.
No, thank you for that. And
All of our
Larry actually
UPS
answered,
systems can
Larry
handle it.
actually answered the question as well. I know we're running over on time, everybody. Does anybody else in the chat have any other questions? You can use the Q&A section in Teams. Okay, I think that is all. Larry, do you want to wrap us up real quick?
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining us. Us, Schneider Electric and Cordicate will be in touch on the second part of the training and getting some information on the Netflix house, hoping to come out and meet, a couple of people there, and we can kind of continue this discussion. From here, we're going to have surveys sent out to you guys to see, what worked, what didn't, what did we miss, and what more information you want. So, coming from single phase and three phase and discussing that, we can look into whatever you guys want to talk about. Maybe it's management and software and being able to see the, your UPS and PDUs and how they interact with each other. What the health of your UPS looks like and temperature with batteries. So like I said, we'll be in touch. So I appreciate everything. Appreciate you taking your time out of the day. And you'll be seeing something from us. So thank you and have a great day.